Cut the Nets podcast with Coach Rush. Today we're here with Coach Jerry McFarland, head men's basketball coach of Washington Adventist University. Coach, I appreciate you sitting down with me today, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate the opportunity. Man, I just met you, but it's been great just learning about you, about, what you're doing up at Andrews and everything else. So I definitely respect it. And, hey, it's been great, man. Hopefully we can continue to build off the relationship.
Absolutely.
That's what is meant to be, meant to happen.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you on that page, man. Trying to build up the program, trying to change the culture of Adventist basketball in general. It seems like we're not alone in this journey. You know what I mean? I've noticed some things just being kind of in the region where we're at of Andrews that I'd like to see grow. And it's good to know that there are other people in the community that are trying to do the same things in different parts of the country. And it's really awesome to hear about what you're doing out at Washington Adventist, how your season was going and stuff like that. So tell me, how long have you been at Washington Adventist?
This is going into my 9th season at Washington Adventist. Worked the first 4 years as assistant coach to Coach Patrick Curry, who's now at Grambling. Coach Pat left Washington Adventist when he had a wonderful opportunity to go to St. Thomas, NAIA in Florida. He took advantage of that, and he went from St. Thomas to Florida A&M, D1, which, you're hard to pass up.
I'm saying.
And then he just got the Grambling State job, so he's the new men's head basketball coach at Grambling State. I've been at Washington Adventist as the head coach for the past 4 years. 2 of the 4 years, we were fortunate enough to play for the NAIA CAC conference championship.
Oh, wow.
We lost both of those.
Was that in one of the first 2 years or in the middle?
It's every other year. So the first year we went to the championship. We lost the second year to Northern Iowa.
Okay.
And then the third year we went to the championship again. And then this fourth year, we lost in the first round. We just didn't come together. I think we had the talent. I don't think that they trusted each other enough. We had lost 8 seniors the prior year, and blame it on me. I went from normally bringing guys up through the program to getting 8 seniors from the portal. So when you have 8 to replace 8, you think you're good. But we didn't really come together until late in the season.
Okay.
And I think a large part of that, we had just different injuries throughout the year.
So if I could stop you right there, what caused you to have to go? Was it something that you had to do or something that you just decided to do to find all those players through the portal? Did you lose a lot of guys?
Yeah, we had guys graduate. We graduated 8 guys.
Okay.
So through the 8 guys of graduation, I could have went younger.
Okay.
And been like, okay, I'll take my lumps with young guys. But instead, I had seen great guys. But like when everybody was trying to get it all in the few months that they were going to be at WAU. And
what do you mean by that? Like they're trying to get it all? Like
the whole process of working as a team, because you're not going to win championships unless you win as a team.
Absolutely.
And the whole process of sacrificing, we all sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice, something. And when you have guys who transfer in, they're also transferring in with a whole lot of misconceptions, and they don't trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole thing of trusting a coach that, okay, don't worry about it this game. You're going to get your shots the next game.
Yeah.
They ain't feeling that. They coming down to one or two passes, that joint going up.
And you know what?
So
And that's such a big thing. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's such a big thing with this transfer portal, trust. And I jotted that down when you first said it, talent and trust. And you said a lot of great nuggets already, and I want to touch back on those. Because a lot of the people that are going to be viewing this podcast is going to be coaches, athletes that are trying to get to the next level. And what I really want to do with this is give them an insight into college coaches' minds like yourself, to give them that feedback as a tool to really understand how this machine works. And so when you say talent and trust, I find that that's a big thing, especially nowadays with the transfer portal like you're talking about. And so when guys are coming out of high school, I don't think that they quite realize yet how big the transfer portal is and how much it's transformed the recruiting process as a whole. And so if you could for a second just speak to helping these kids and coaches understanding why the portal is important, why it affects the trust level as well.
I mean, I just think you just go back to the two teams that played for the championship in our conference. Both of them had transfer seniors that came in. One was the conference player of the year, and the other one was all first team all conference. Both of them averaged 20-something a game, 6-7 assists. So they can come in and impact, your program right away. But it has to be a good mixture of them. And I don't think I put the right guys with each other, even though we were talented. And, guys could all make plays, but I don't think that they trusted each other or trusted me enough to go through the process. It's difficult when guys have, maybe not played their freshman year, so they ended up transferring. Then they go to another situation and they maybe were promised something that wasn't delivered as a sophomore.
I find that a lot, especially in these JUCO guys, man. They go places, and these coaches, because everybody hops around so much, I think it's caused some coaches, not all, to kind of sell kids a dream just so that they have a roster. And then they get there and they realize, like, man, it's not what they told me. And instead of guys developing like a work ethic and an initiative to say, well, like, I decided to come here, like, I'm gonna thug it out and work my way through it and earn a spot, take a spot, whatever that looks like. They just hop in the transfer portal and they're gone and they're off to the next one, looking for an easy opportunity. Is that what you found in your experience too?
I wouldn't say that. I think that they come with good intentions, but once they get there, they're like, okay, this is my last chance. And in their mind, they want to play professionally. They want to go overseas and play or, whatever it may be. And they don't look at it as, we can all eat. If we're good, if we win championships, we all gonna eat. We live in a society, I feel like the more I can get a highlight tape out or the more I can get out something about me, then I can help my situation.
Absolutely.
Like that's the key to it, is to get something out about me. And if we don't put up enough about me, then, but the winning, you can win.
Yeah.
The more you win, then the more you're going to attract attention because, people realize you know how to play.
Yeah.
And that, you can impact games in different ways. And that's the part I think that sometimes gets lost in all of that. And we're in a basketball talent rich area in Washington, D.C. So, there are guys, everybody wants to play Division I. So, I think sometimes guys go Division One, even to be that 13th, 14th, 15th man on the roster and willing to not play just for the chance of, hey, maybe I would play. And then to be able to put out on social media, I went Division One, whatever, as opposed to, if you look at the landscape now, the model, in my opinion, should be go to where you're loved and where you're going to get the opportunities. And, as college coaches, I know me, I'm not going to hold a kid back.
Right.
If a kid is good enough after playing for us, he can help us win championships. And then he says, hey, coach, I want to go D1. I'm going to help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's not where you want to be. I don't want anyone with us that doesn't want to be with us, because it's just going to cause bad relationships. And we're about brotherhood.
Yeah.
We're not about, anything where we're building strife amongst each other and, hurt feelings and all that type of stuff. Of course, we've had guys that thought their career would be a certain way and it didn't turn out to be that way. But that's not like anything that we've done. That just, they didn't put the work in, or they had a higher expectation of, what they were going to do on a collegiate level, and didn't respect the game or respect others enough to understand that there are good players.
Man. At every level.
At every level.
And I think guys don't really understand that too. Like that, they think that like if you're not going D1, it means you're not good. And we talked about this in the Q&A last night, where it's like 7% of all high school basketball players play at the college level.
On any level. Right.
So if you play college ball, you're top 7%. You are cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. And so these guys have this in their mind where like they think if I'm not D1, I must not be good. Okay, go to a D3 game. Go to a USCAA game, national championship game. Go to a NAIA or NCAA Division I or Division II. Go to JUCO Division III. There's guys there that can hoop, right? Yeah. And if you're not 6'5" with an elite guard skill set, I don't think that you should frown on playing at the quote unquote lower levels. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's all a matter of opportunity, going where someone is going to appreciate you, give you the chance, develop you, insert you into a brotherhood. That's a big thing in my program as well, too. And so for you as a coach who has made runs, championship runs, whether you won or fell short, you've been to the mountaintop a couple of times. What are some foundational pillars that you build your championship culture on, that you would like high school coaches and high school players to understand, coming for an opportunity?
Pillars we build ourselves on is accountability, trust, brotherhood, and respect. Respect top to bottom. Like, I wash uniforms. The same things my managers do, I've done and I do in the program. Yeah. So, the same thing I ask of my assistant coaches, I do the same thing. So I'm not, whether it's the best player on the team or, the kid that doesn't play that much, they're held to the same accountability standards. They're not, there's no, the standard is the standard.
Yeah.
Like, so we're used to playing a certain way. We're used to, getting a certain amount of wins. We didn't achieve that last year, so we got to get better. So our work over the summer, we've been more intense. We've been more purposeful. Guys have really, really gotten after it where I haven't really had to say much.
Yeah.
They kind of, have known within themselves that we got to get better, and they've put the work in. I think the thing too, let me go back to when we were talking about the 8 seniors we brought in. I think that they didn't totally come in respecting the level because they come from D1s, D2s, whatever. And when you transfer down, it's like, everybody's telling you, oh, you should rip that league up. And then you go NAIA and you're not ripping it up.
Yeah. Your mindset is wrong already when you walk into it. Like
exactly.
It's kind of like what we dealt with some of the guys. They think because they're going against somebody who's at a lower level, they don't work as hard. They're not as disciplined. Yeah. No,
and they don't, they come in. It's, first of all, our gym, we have a small gym, is a tough place to play. Like for opposing teams that come to Washington or Venice, we have a small gym, which is great. For me, I love it because it's kind of like, Duke back in the day when everybody wanted Coach K to get a bigger gym and A, B, C, D, and Coach K wouldn't do it because it takes away their home court advantage. I think when we play Oakwood, a lot of times we play them at TA because it's a bigger facility.
Oh, okay.
The one time where we played them at Washington and Venice, the crowd was crazy.
Too packed.
Oh, man, it was packed. It was crazy. I loved it. Yeah. I'm like, man, we need to get the games back at Washington and Venice. Yeah. But, I understand because the way that it is. But I love the atmosphere because the place gets so loud. Yeah. And you have to be a person who, humble yourself to the point where that's what you want. Yeah. A lot of times people, want to go to these big facilities and they don't even play. You know what I mean? Like you may go to a big place that has a bigger gym or a nicer gym or whatever, but if I have guys that have had better playing experiences, have been to championships, have been to bigger games, have played in tougher games or bigger games, have played, D1s, have played the Norfolk States, have played Georgetown, Kentucky, has played, the top NAIA teams like Grace, have been to NAIA national tournaments and played. You can't tell me my kids ain't have just as good or better experience as a kid who went D1 and sat
on the bench,
and didn't play. So
because at the end of the day, this is what I tell guys too. Go where you're gonna play because at the end of the day, we play the game to play the game.
Right.
Like nobody wants to sit on the bench, And I mean, to each his own. If your goal is just to make it to that level, to say that you made it to that level, I mean, so be it. Then you were successful because if that's what you set out to do, that's what you set out to do. But I mean, I would imagine that most of us play the game or coach the game because we love being a part of it, not sitting on the sidelines. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think enough people get out to, and I really encourage people to go watch more Adventist college basketball games because I think that, whether it's your conference, mine, whatever, when they say, well, this kid can play at your level, I don't think they've ever been to my games even to know what my level is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But they'll jump out there and say, oh, yeah, he can play at your level, such and such.
Do you take that as disrespect or do you feel disrespect?
Oh, it is definitely disrespect. But I don't take it that way because I just look at it as they don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't take it as like they're doing it intentionally. Like, hey, you need to be happy to get a kid of mine. No, I take it as they don't know.
Yeah.
And my thing is to try to encourage them to come out to the game. It's funny because Georgetown could offer them, a ticket and they'll break their neck. I tell them, come on, I'll put you on our guest list.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, yada, yada, yada. So for me, that tells me, you really don't know what my level is, nor do you want to do the research to find out.
Facts.
But one of the things that I feel has happened to our society is that at one point, our parents and older people were happy for us to go to college. They, like for us to be in college, was the greatest thing in the world. Now we've gotten to the point where if they don't go D1, then my son didn't make it. And it depends, on the edits. Like they can't really put anything on social media because it's not a school that's recognizable, or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that is giving out a whole lot of NIL money or doing
Yeah.
this or doing that. And
And I also don't think people understand it's such a small percentage that offers that NIL package.
yeah,
Like it's what you see on TV.
right.
And that is a small fraction of colleges that have athletics. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's a big one. So one of the things that I've always found the beauty in the game is the variety in the game. There's so many different approaches. And I'm a Kung Fu fan, right?
Mhm.
So like, you watch Kung Fu movies, it's always my Kung Fu is better than your Kung Fu, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that one Kung Fu itself is better than another, or one style of play or one philosophy is better than another, as much as how good am I at what I do? And can I make it better than what you do, right? And so I would love to ask coaches, because I love to learn, like, what's your philosophy? What's your approach to the game?
Because I'm old school, but I'm old school where I keep up on what's happening. Like I follow all of the people. There's some people who don't like AAU or who don't like this about the game or that about the game. I love everything about the game. You know what I mean? So for me, if I can pick something up from people who are playing in Europe, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
If I can pick something up from, professional game, I'm gonna pick it up. I'll pick it up from a women's game, I'm gonna pick it up. Offenses that they run, different things that they do against different situations. What are they doing out of timeouts? How are they treating different ball screen action? All of that type of stuff. I'm like, I keep up on and I'm on. I will always have like one or two extremely old offenses in my scheme, because people, I find a lot of younger people kind of disrespect, flex, or they'll disrespect, motion, or they'll disrespect 5 out, 4 out, or whatever. If it's not continuity, or if it's not, something that they saw the other day in professional basketball, they just don't, seem to like it. For me, I find that when I throw something in, like flex, or throw something in like horns or old action, that because lately I've been studying the triangle offense.
Okay. I'm glad you went there, but keep going. I'm gonna get to that.
I've been studying the triangle offense, so learning a whole lot more about how to get my best player the ball at that mid post or low post or high post, and play out of that, and different ways that Phil did a great job of getting Mike and Kobe in spots where they can make plays.
Absolutely.
I'm a LeBron fan, so constantly.
Okay, interview over, guys.
Constantly, Mike and Kobe fans, man, they're on me about, this and that about Bron, ABC.
You're too old to be a Bron fan, man. Look.
I know greatness when I see it.
Yeah,
when I look at things that he's done, and
he's truly amazing.
Especially prime LeBron, when LeBron was basically like putting the Cavs on his back.
You hardly can't tell he ain't prime LeBron in year 22. He's still averaging 25 a game, 27, 7, and 7, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that LeBron where they would just throw that thing up and LeBron was coming up. Yeah, that was like, oh my goodness, LeBron. Yeah. And LeBron where he was going baseline and hitting that joint off the backboard against Toronto. That LeBron was special. And his passing ability. For me, I grew up when, Bird and Magic that whole Michigan State, Indiana State during, I was born in 68.
Okay.
I'm old. I'm 57. Next, June 16th, I'll be 58.
Oh, wow.
So, just watching how Magic and Bird rejuvenized the country. And, I think that when you look at basketball now, how, people talk about the global aspect of basketball. For me, I look at it as that's what the NBA had invested in. They put a lot of money into the basketball being more global.
Yeah.
So now all we're seeing is the reaping of those benefits of that investment.
Yeah.
Where we as Americans are mad,
that the game has changed.
The last few MVPs been foreign players or foreign-born players, ABCD.
Yeah.
The bulk of the NBA is still American.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the game, there are far more Americans who are extraordinary players than from any country. You can't pick any one country and say, okay, these players over here are better than U.S. players.
Coach, you're hitting so many nuggets. It's hard for me to keep up because it's like I want to touch on a couple of them to get you to go a little deeper, but it's like everything you're saying is just so on point. But a couple of things you said kind of tie in. So you're talking about the evolution of the game, the evolution of, European players or foreign-born players in general. But you also were talking about like you like some old school offenses. And one of the things that I noticed, because I'm like you, I'm a student of the game. I go around and my whole philosophy is a melting pot of things that I've learned, good and bad, what to do, what not to do, right? And so like you talk about like the flex offense and how it's obsolete. But what I found is obviously it's not, number one. But what I found is that it's not even so much that they've done away with it. They've just transformed it. So like I was taught flex at 5th and 6th grade and we ran it along the baseline. But as I got into coaching 10, 15 years later, it was like, okay, now Bo Ryan created the swing. And as I worked under a coach who loved the swing and I learned it inside and out, I just said to myself, like, man, this ain't nothing but flex on the perimeter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like even the triangle, and this is why I said I'm glad you touched on the triangle, because like people say, oh, the triangle is dead. But the triangle is far from dead. It's evolved into other types of offenses. So one of the things that I used to love about Pop and the Spurs is they ran a more modern version of the triangle because you could see triangles all over the floor. And even now, the way that the spacing is done and is set up, I developed this philosophy around different ways to get guys open for easy shots, right? And as I'm studying, I came across somebody who pretty much was on the same stream of consciousness, and they call it the gap theory. And the gap theory is like 4 different concepts. It's like, and forgive me if I get this wrong, you can look it up later, but it's like spacing, making 2 people guard one, attacking bad closeouts, and I can't remember the 4th thing, but I know there's 4 things. But one of the things that I really, really noticed about the gap theory is basically these same 4 repeating concepts that show up no matter what offense that you run, right? And all over the floor, it's triangles. And so when I noticed that, I said to myself, triangle ain't dead. They just are hiding it in everything else that we do. It's still different angles, 45-degree angles all over the court, finding guys, getting them open, whether you like shooters or post players or whatever it is that you like. And it's the same thing with basketball, like with like the face of the league and all of that. So that's really what I was getting to, is that like, how do you feel about this face of the league debate, right? So like Anthony Edwards is like, oh, I don't want to be the face of the league. And they don't want to quote unquote give it to somebody like Shea because he's foreign born. They don't want to give it to Luka because he's foreign born. But we have pushed the game globally so much, and not that these guys aren't great. They are phenomenal, every single one of them, right? But we've pushed them, some of them maybe a little more than what we should have, because we're trying to tap into that global money and make it a global game and a global brotherhood and all of that. But now they don't want to give them that mantle of face of the league. What do you think about that?
I think that's for basketball purists like myself. It's all marketing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have nothing to do with the game. The game is the game.
The game is the game.
You know what I mean? It's like, don't disrespect the game. And it's funny because like even today we were talking about in camp, that line from the basket to the basket. It's all about math at that point. It's 3 on one side, 2 on the other. It can never be anything other than that.
Right.
Either you're going to be on the strong side or the weak side. And no matter how you do it, you know, when you go from rim to rim, you're either going to have 3 people on one side and 4 on the other. I mean, or 2 and 2 on the other, or you're going to have 4 and 1. If you have 4 and 1, it's going to be overload.
Right.
So it's it's really just basic math.
Right.
In basketball, that's why spacing is so important, because if you create the spacing, nobody honestly can stay in front of anybody one-on-one on a huge floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's, you know.
Especially if you can't touch guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Even when you can touch them, it doesn't make a difference. Because it's about physics. If I get you to moving a certain, you know, way, you know, a certain speed, and I know when I'm gonna stop or change direction or whatever, you know, your velocity is going to keep you going,
right?
And that's going to create more spacing for me to be able to make a play or whatever. I think now, somebody said this the other day, and I think they're 100% on point, and I think it's because where we've gone with the game of basketball, where we promote the game of basketball more than we teach it. That's because the teachers of the game of basketball, just like the teachers in school, they don't make money. You know what I mean? The teachers, people aren't investing in teachers. You know, they're investing in the people who can make them more money. So even when we look at universities, or we look at, you know, in our business of coaching, no matter how many people in Division I school especially, because that's what people are aspiring to do, and B, they can have a high graduation rate. Coach can graduate, you know, as many players as he want, and those, you know, players can have as many master's degrees, be perfect fathers, and everything. Yeah. He's still gonna get fired if they don't win.
Facts.
So, you know, I think we've lost the bigger picture through, I'm not going to say money. I think that we've promoted the game, but we still haven't reinvested in the games. As a matter of fact, if you walk around neighborhoods now, they're taking basketball courts away from neighborhoods.
Really? In the DC area?
I mean, just period. People aren't playing basketball. There's all types of stuff because it's a feeling that there's bad elements that come up around basketball courts, you know, like drugs or whatever. But drugs go.
Yeah, they're gonna go wherever they got to open.
Yeah, but the thing is like we used to go out and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so kids don't play outside no more.
Right.
We've been talking about that all week. Like everybody wants to be in a gym, and this is a nugget for you guys listening, coaches and players. Like, you know, these kids want to be in the gym and they want to be with a trainer 24/7, and that's good. It has its place, but man, we cut our teeth playing outside on the concrete. You know what I mean? And like, you know, it has its pros and cons. Like everything has its pros and cons, man. But like, that's the beauty of the game. That's where you learn the game. Playing with old heads, playing with different competition levels, just getting outside and playing in general under the elements, whether it's wind, air, hot, heat, cold, whatever it is, man. Like double barred rims, like
different. Just too, we've become my fear where I think we have the talented players have become basketball fatigued by the time they get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Because when we grew up, we played multiple sports.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
football, basketball, whatever the season was
We doing it.
we doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We had a love for playing, this is the last time I'm going to play with my boy in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're my guy.
Yeah.
Now, guys will go all over the place
Man,
to
they
play
playing 100 AAU games this summer, and they paying all this extra money, and they paying for trainers.
Not even AAU. Like, people will go to Florida or go to Missouri or whatever to play high school basketball. When, like, you're from D.C., there are tons of these schools in D.C. Why not go? You could go to your neighborhood school and get the same thing you're getting, in terms of college. If you're a Division I player, you're going to be that Division I player at your public school, whether you go to the private school in your area, whether you go to one of these top prep schools, or whether you go to, a school, a high school that sponsored by one of these shoe companies.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But I think that it's the lure of, hey, this school sponsored by Nike, this school sponsored by Adidas.
It's like you said, the promoters versus the teachers. They promote it and they make it look good. And we talked about this earlier too, selling kids' dreams and stuff like that. So I want you to leave our viewers with a nugget. What's something that you wish that you could impart and leave with basketball coaches, players, parents, patrons? What's a nugget, a gem that you want to leave with them for us to close out on, Coach?
I think for me, it's about being honest with yourself, being humble. Understand that, your path is uniquely for you. I think that at times, a lot of our youth, a lot of our parents, they chase after things that someone else has done or someone else has told them. But, God has uniquely made, each individual player and their circumstance and, them getting to certain points. They're going to get there regardless of all this other stuff. Like, was some God meant for you is going to be for you. So all of this, I have to do this and all of that to get to where you need to get to. What you need is balance. You need balance. You need spiritual. You need
that's wisdom talking.
Physical. You need community, and you need it being bigger than just basketball.
Yeah.
You need it to be stuff that helps you grow as a person about life, and then everything else will take care of itself.
Absolutely. Well, y'all heard it from the man himself, man. Coach McFarland, I definitely appreciate you sitting down and meeting with me here for a minute, man. We definitely going to have to stay connected, try to get each other on the schedule. That's going to be fun, man.
At Venice Community, we have to make this happen.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We have to get the Lassiers, the Washington and Venice, the Andrews. We need to have this big classic as soon as possible. We need to make it happen.
Adventist Hoops Classic.
Adventist Hoops Classic.
AHC, y'all heard it. We
you gotta make it happen. and it's nothing but love. It's nothing but good fellowship.
Yes.
So somehow, some way, presidents, athletic directors, the coaches, the players, everybody wants it to happen. We need to make it happen.
We gonna make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Peace and love. Blessings to y'all.
Definitely.
Like, subscribe, follow, hit up Coach McFarland, Washington Adventist Hoops on all social media platforms. Coach, peace and blessings to you, man.
You too. Appreciate it, bro.